So, in our last lecture, we talked about form attributes. So today we are going to talk about the form elements. So, one of the form elements we're going to talk about is the input element. So the input element. So the input element is just a place where your user can be able to input data into the form. So a space where you copy part, go here. So I'm going to go to V to replace it there. Enter. So to write, the input element does not have a closing tag. So input, then close. Now the input element works with attributes, the attribute type. So the input attribute, this type can display the input in different way. So the input can be displayed in different way. So but in our next lecture we are going to talk fully about the input. So but I'm going to use the attribute. So the attribute type is used to display the input in different way. So we have the checkbox, the color, and so on. So but I'm going to give it in text. So the text will give you the ability for you to be able to input both numbers and both words. So I'm going to refresh. So this is the input. So now the next input element we have is the label. Now the job of the label is used to give description of what the input is used for. So we are going to put the label. So the label can also be used for several other things, but just understand that the label is mostly used for description. So label. So the label also comes with these 4 attributes. So it comes with these 4 attributes. So here I'm just going to say this input. In between here I'm going to put the description of what this label is. So I'm going to say this description is for my full name. You can write whatever you want inside of here. So I'm going to put the column. So this is full name. So now to bind this label with this input field, we are going to use the 4. That's what the 4 attribute is. So to bind it, we need to use the 4 and the ID. So you hear that we're using the ID here again. So in this part we're going to say ID. Then now whatever name you put inside of the 4 is the same you're going to apply inside of the ID. So I'm going to give it let's say F. Just let me write F name. So same will be here, F name. So when I refresh, so the next element we're going to talk about is a select. So select, close. So press enter. So now this select accepts its own personal element, the option. So the option is just used to give is option in which your user can be able to select from. So we have the option. So option. So let's say you are trying to your user to select a variety of they want to select, instead of your form, they want to select different types of cars. So you can just say you want them to select from, let's say the first option is Land Rover. So now instead of this is the first option. So instead of this option, we are going to pass in an attribute. So this attribute is the actual value that is going to be sent to the backend. So this what we wrote is just a description. So we need the value whenever users click on this Land Rover, this Land Rover option. What is going to be sent into the backend? So what is going to be sent into the backend is whatever is going to be inside of this attribute value. So what we are going to write is same as the description. So we're going to say Land Rover. So we're going to create a second option. So this one I'm going to say range Rover. So here I'm going to put value going to be Range Rover. So I'm going to duplicate this several times. So 3. So here is going to be, what I'm going to put here is going to be Lexus. And here is going to also be Lexus. So here I'm going to put Volvo. So same I'm going to give here So I'm going to put here Volvo. And okay, let me duplicate it one more time and just add BMW. So select, just like I'm going to give it a label. So I'm going to give it the label. So label. So remember how we connect it. We're going to say this is for cars. So here I'm going to give it I'm going to say let's put the 4 attributes. No, so you don't forget to put the 4 attributes. So remember to let's just put car. So connecting it with the select, we're going to say ID. So we're going to say car. So one other attribute we are going to talk about that I've not talked about is the name attribute. So whenever you're dealing with the backend, the name attribute is actually what we use to reference this particular whichever element or whichever input field you are trying to program in the backend or in the backend in the server side. So where we apply for the input, you can apply the name here, anywhere here. So name. So you just be the name. To always make sure that name. So name. So I can just say full name. So just know just what you use to reference this particular input field in the backend. So full name. So for the select, where you put the name is going to be here where the select is. So I'm going to give it, say the name, I'm going to call it cars. So actually the cars or cars, doesn't matter. So now let's refresh. So this is our select. So this is our select. So I'm going to put a I need to put a break to bring the cards down. So I'm going to come at the end of the, okay, let me put it here at the beginning of this label. So I will remember to BR, close it so that it goes down. So it's okay here. So you can see the select. When you click here, you can be able to select whichever option you choose, whichever one you want. So as you click, if it's actually connected with the backend, then when you click, it is going to be sent to the backend to be processed in the server. So now you may want the be looking at this option, you find out that my Lexus is in the middle. So you may want the Lexus to be pre-selected. So in order to do something like that, all you just need to do is come to the Lexus space, then say selected. So when you refresh, you find out that by default the Lexus will be pre-selected. So another thing again is option. If you look again, you find out that in looking at this select, only one option is visible. So you may want 2 or more options to be visible. So to do something like that, we are going to come up here. We're going to use the size attribute. So you're going to apply the size attribute. So size, and you're going to say how many you want to be visible. You can say 3. So the one is just say 3. By default, the 3 will be visible. So you have this scroll to be able to select whichever one you want. So I'm going to say text area. Now the job of text area is just to create this multi-line space for a user to be able to input their own text. So text area, so text area, so now this text area comes with this column and rows. So this column and rows would determine how many column you want your text area to appear, how many rows you want it to appear. So when I refresh, this is what I get. So this is what I get. So user can be able to and expand it if he chooses. So by default, you have set the column to 30 and the rows to 10. So you can change, you can come and if you choose. So but you can also do something else. You can also write a description inside of the input field, inside of the text area. So inside of the text area, you can just say type in your text or input your text, whatever you want to write there. So let me just put dot 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 dot. So when I refresh, so your user is going to see this whenever it comes. So whenever it refreshes, so the user can be able to wipe it out and then start typing whatever your user feel like typing. So the next element we have is the button. So in between here, I'm just going to put the description for this button. So here I'm just going to say, let me just call it click me. Let's say click me is the description. So when I refresh, you're going to see the button click me. So okay, actually it's when I click on it, it's showing me that my attribute is working. The attribute blank is actually working. So but let's input something here. So let's say add a JavaScript code. So on click, so on click, so on click, so I want alert, so it should pop out. So this alert, I want it to, okay, let's say hey. So let us say, hey, I'm here. So when I refresh and click on it, you see the alert pop out there saying, hey, I'm there. So I'm going to click on it. So now in all, browser does not accept the button attribute, button element. So in order to make it being accepted in all browser, all you just need to do is, first of all, you need to apply so you need to apply attribute type, type. So accept attribute type button. So now it will be accepted by all browser. So another element we want to talk about is the Fieldset and the legend. So the Fieldset is used to group related data, and the legend is used to describe what the Fieldset is. So we are going to group all this. So we are going to group all this data we have just typed. So let me press enter. So above, before the form, I'm going to put the field set. So I'll say field set, so close it. So I'm going to cut the text from here, so wrapping everything I've written that's inside of the form. So paste it. So when I refresh, you're going to see a line grouping everything I've written. So you see this line grouping everything I've written. So now I can describe what this thing is. Let's say I want to call this my personal information. Let's say I want to describe what this field set is. I can use the legend. So I can say legend. So let's say personal information. let's say information. There's no information. So when I refresh, you're going to see it at the top on the line. So one more element we're going to talk about is a data list. So the data list is also used to describe define pre so the data list is used to describe optional information for your user. So I can just create the BR before putting the data list. So inside of the data list we have the option, so we can also have the value. So value, so whatever you want it to, is like a pre-option that your user can be able to select. So let's say it's color, let's say red. So you can remove this if you prefer. So this will be blue. This will be green. And this will be black. So for this list to work, we need to assign it an input field for you to be able to see it. So we are going to create the input field above it. So the input field, so inputs. So now to bind it with this data list, we are going to use the list. So inside of the input we are going to put a list, and here I'm going to put ID. So see the ID playing a very unique role in this form. So here I'm going to put color. Here I'm going to put color also, binding it. So when I come here, I'm going to refresh. So in our next class, we're going to talk more about the input field and all the types, the input types we have. So see you in our next class.